It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast. On this, the 17th day of October, 2023, coming to you from a very seasonal day in Central Virginia. I'm in Bedford County, right outside of Lynchburg. It's going to get up to 60 today. It wasn't quite as cold last night. It stayed in the 40s at least. So it should be a fairly nice day today. Not a whole great deal in the news side of things today, although there are a couple little stories. Our friends down at Margaritaville at Sea are going to expand, maybe. Nassau's destroying the old record. Restricted hours in the Crown Lounge after Royal Caribbean promised they weren't going to do that. NCL has issued a clarification on some paperwork to some people, and lots more here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, is National Pasta Day. I got started on that last night. We had pasta here at the house. Amanda did bow tie pasta, whatever you call that. I'm sure there's an official Italian name for that, but I call it bow tie pasta. She makes a pretty good meat sauce. It was good, and there's plenty of leftovers because she cooks for 40, I think. So everybody's going to be gone for several days. I'm going to be here by myself, so I got some pasta to keep me fed while everybody's gone. A lot going on today. Right after the show, I'll be meeting with our friends up at Viva Voyages for Passion for Cruises U.S. Solos. Following that, I have a meeting with the Will Power Chair Scoot Around folks. And then we're taking Amanda out to celebrate her birthday. She's actually going to be gone for her birthday, which is tomorrow. But she's going to be gone for about a week. So we're taking her out for sushi tonight for her birthday. A couple of her friends are going to join us, so that'll be a good time. Of course, you guys know I love my sushi, so anyway, that's what's coming up tonight. So it's going to be a pretty busy day today. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. All the big hitters, doesn't matter, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Pandora, TuneIn, any of them. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. Anytime you're listening to the podcast and want to jump over to the video feed, there's always a link in the description of the podcast so you can do just that in case you want to take a look at pictures or clips or interviews that may be on that day's show. All right. Before we get to the weather, I do have a couple things to share with you. My friend Christy just published a really good article in Travel Age West magazine. They featured her and gave her a place to talk about the importance of inclusion in travel. Really a nice article. I might see if I can get it on my blog. I don't know if I can or not, but we'll see. So that might be on the blog sometime later today or tomorrow. My friends Guga and Rob they're doing a group cruise, and they're in Bermuda on Mariner of the Seas. They're at Horseshoe Bay Beach yesterday. A little writing in the sand there for Guga and Rob. I love it. over the weekend, Sylvia got to work the Abilities Expo down in Fort Lauderdale, which that's for, of course, willpower chairs. Sylvia and I hold the same position. So I assume at some point in time they'll invite me to do shows like that as well. But anyway, she had a really good time. Got to play with some of the dogs that were there, which is one of the things she likes about it. Sylvia then, just to prove that we people that are in chairs tend to stay on the go. She's currently on a plane to London, so she's going again. So that's awesome that she's able to do that. I'll be leaving, of course, in another 10 days or so now. All right. So Hot Air Tom has had this project to build this concrete pad. Now, this has been going on for weeks, folks. He brought a truckload of bags of concrete and all kinds of supplies. Has no idea what he's doing. And he wasn't getting anywhere and running out of time. And so apparently yesterday, he saw a concrete guy working for one of his neighbors down the street. So he talked and chatted with the guy a little bit. And it was pretty obvious that Hot Air Tom didn't have a clue about what the hell he was doing. So the concrete guy stopped by after he got done with that job and took a look at it and nailed some spikes in to level the thing up and poured the concrete while Hot Air Tom was inside taking a nap. He woke up and the concrete pad was done. I don't know, that was great. So Hot Air Tom does have his concrete pad, finally, although he had absolutely nothing to do with it. That's my story, and I'm going to stick with it. So, all right, we got to talk about the weather today again, folks. Man, the what am I trying to say? The Atlantic. Yeah, that's over here on this side of the pond. The Atlantic is looking better. There, however, is a broad area of low pressure over the central tropical Atlantic, about 1,100 miles east of the windwards. Continues to produce a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Environmental conditions are expected to remain conducive for gradual development, and a tropical depression will likely form by tomorrow, while the system moves westward to west-northwestward across the central and western tropical Atlantic. Interest in the Lesser Antilles should monitor the progress of this system. They've now stepped it up over the next 48 hours. They're saying 60% chance of further development, 80% chance over the next 7 days. Oh, I got to watch this one, folks. I have seen some of the models from the long-range forecasters. They tend to think that this is going to bend, maybe get to as far as the eastern Bahamas and bend to the north and not have much of an effect on the United States. Could have Bermuda back in play again. And then we'll just have to see how big and how long the system lasts, if it's going to make it up, into Canada like the last several have done. And then after, what do we have, 5 or 6 days of clean maps in the Pacific, all of a sudden we got 2 more pop-ups. In the Pacific, we've got showers and thunderstorms associated with an area of low pressure located a few hundred miles offshore of the southwestern coast of Mexico are gradually becoming better organized, but the low still does not have a well-defined center. Environmental conditions are conducive for further development of this system, and a tropical depression is likely to form later today or tonight. The system is expected to move slowly west-northwestward and then turn northwestward or northward late in the week offshore of the coast of southwestern Mexico. Further formation in the next 48 hours, 90%, and 90% for the next 7 days. It's got a good chance of probably becoming a hurricane, but it might be another one of those storms to nowhere. We're just going to have to watch and see. The other system that's south of Guatemala and southern Mexico is an area of low pressure expected to form south of the coast of Guatemala in a couple of days. Gradual development of the disturbance is expected, and a tropical depression is likely to form late in the week or this weekend, while the system meanders over the far eastern portion of the basin. Talking about a low chance of formation in the next couple days, about 10%, but then it jumps up to 70% over the next 7 days. So it's another one we got to watch. So we're not out of the weather yet, folks. It's getting better. I'll be glad when it's done for good for the year. But we've still got probably a couple more weeks that we got to watch stuff. All right, I'll be back with a couple stories after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. All right, the lead story today comes from our friends down in West Palm Beach. While it's not official, it appears Margaritaville at Sea may be expanding back to 2 ships. Now, this is put together from several disjointed things, folks. Adora Cruises, which is a joint venture between Carnival Corporation and China State Shipbuilding Corporation, has sold one of its Spirit-class cruise ships. A name change was registered with the automatic identification system on marine traffic from Costa Atlantica to Margaritaville at Sea Islander. The sale of Costa Atlantica was confirmed to the industry publication Tradewinds by Carnival Corporation yesterday. Margaritaville at Sea is currently operating one of the oldest ships in North America right now, the former Costa Atlantica, which entered service with Costa Cruises in 1991. The Florida-based operator took control of the ship in 2018, renaming it Margaritaville at Sea Paradise. Before the industry shutdown, the cruise line had 2 ships, the Grand Celebration, which was formerly the 1987 Carnival Celebration, and the Grand Classica. Grand Celebration was sold for scrap during the shutdown. So it looks like maybe they're going back to 2 ships. However, Margaritaville at Sea has not commented on acquiring the vessel, and that comes both from media sources and from me calling them and asking them blank, right straight out this morning. No comment. So we'll see. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it certainly looks that way. All right, the next story, folks, comes from our friends over at Nassau in the Bahamas. With 3 busy cruise months yet to come in 2023, Nassau Cruise Port is already ahead of the full year visitor numbers from 2022. From January through December of 2022, the capital of the Bahamas welcomed 3,212,603 cruise travelers. Already in 2023, counts now official January through September, 3,224,210 have visited the port. While the difference is only 11,607 guests, it was done in 9 months, remember? That record is going to be shattered. just 2 weeks after making adjustments to the Crown Lounge that promised no change across the access requirements or services offered. Royal Caribbean International has notified guests aboard its newest, largest vessel that access is indeed restricted. Guests aboard Wonder of the Seas have been notified that the newly renamed Crown Lounge will only be available to Diamond Plus and Pinnacle Club members from 5 to 8 p.m. each evening. They don't have room for the Diamond members at that time. Norwegian Cruise Line is taking extra steps to ensure all travelers are aware of paperwork requirements prior to sailing on select voyages. Guests booked on one-way trips have received reminders that valid passports are required, even though the cruise does start and end in a U.S. home port. The fact that the beginning and ending home ports differ is a critical fact, and federal law requires travelers to have a valid passport for such sailings. To ensure that travelers understand the documentation requirements, Norwegian Cruise Line sent email reminders to guests booked on such sailings, as well as to travel partners and agents, with a request to ensure the information is shared with impacted guests. The Norwegian website also outlines why valid passports are strongly recommended for all guests. If a guest were to miss the ship at an international port of call, for example, a valid passport would be necessary for air travel to return to the U.S. or to catch up with the ship at the next port of call. And anytime somebody might be sick and have to go through any kind of medical situations, you better have a passport with you. I've recommended it all along. I'm glad Norwegian is strongly recommended to everyone now as well. All right, that actually wraps up the news portion of today's show. Said there wasn't a whole lot of news. So let's go over and see who's fussing at me in the chat room today. Let's see. Steve's with us in Kentucky. Hey, Steve. There's Hot Air Tom. We were cheated. No Chillie Cruises intro. What? I played it, honest. I thought I did. I'll have to go back and check now. But anyway, there's Katie. Katie got here yesterday after I went off the air. Yeah, it was a little kind of a shorter show yet. We've had a couple of shorter shows this week. Hot Air Tom says that Margaritaville ship is getting so bad. Reviews, maybe they are going to replace it. I don't think they're going to replace it. I was on it. I had accessibility issues with it. But I like the food, I like the service, and I like the vibe. Cabin was really small, but I think they're going to probably go to 2 ships on Air Tom. They've never been one to bend to public opinions. So they could sell the old ship to the World Cruise folks. Yeah, they're still looking for a ship, except this one would have, Margaritaville at Sea stuff all over it. And the people would think that they were, sailing with Jimmy Buffett, and he's not going to go with that. Mike's with us. Good morning, Mike. Emily's here. Hello, Chillie and the gang. Hot Air Son Tom says, Chillie's Cruises, now that the concrete is done, time for you to travel to supervise the shed assembly. Yeah, no. I could supervise, but I have a feeling, Tom, you just need to call a contractor. Say, come on over and set this thing up. Yeah, that's what I would do. Did I say Joanne was here? Good morning, Joanne. If I missed you, I didn't mean to. So, all right, guys, it's going to be a busy day for me today. I've got the meeting with Passion for Cruises US coming up shortly. I don't know if they're going to want us to do a show, the Solo Cruise Deal Show tomorrow or not. I have not heard any more. They asked us not to do it last week. Hot Air Tom says, Emily, watch out. He's headed to Manhattan Friday. We'll be staying Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, going to see the matinee. The matinee Saturday of 6 and Sunblock to the Future. Oh, Sun Back to the Future. What? Okay. He's doing a matinee of 6 and something about Back to the Future. I can't tell what it is. Anyway, so that's going on. So anyway, so I have no idea if they're going to want me to do the show tomorrow or not, or do my show that I wanted to do last Friday, which I'd like to do this Friday. I'd like to get as much of this stuff as possible before I go on the next cruise. I leave on the 25th, so that's now 8 days away. We will have some days next week with the shows will be canceled because the 25th is another one of those all-day travel days, and I've got to leave here at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So there's no way in the world I'm going to get a show done, even tape it beforehand. So on the 25th, just count on it not being a show. I will try to, have everything back and going by the 26th. And then the same thing will happen at the end of the cruise. I think the end of the cruise also is in the middle of the week when I fly back to Richmond and then drive home. But anyway, well, we'll cross that bridge when I get to it. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, I'll be, of course, back tomorrow with updating you on everything. Also, hopefully I'll have an update on the ADA compliance complaint that I have issued. And maybe we'll be able to talk about that one a little bit. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. Hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fabulous day, everybody. And I'll see everybody back here, same time, same channel, tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Have a great day, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.